Good morning, and welcome to the worldwide headquarters of San Jacinto County TV. And last week, I think I did a thing on the Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department and the ESD, and this week we had a meeting of the county commissioners, and I think everybody was agreed to kind of do a pause and let's move forward in some direction, and possibly we need a written agreement on some of these things, and a direction that plan from ESD as to what they are going to do. I know they've hired a fire chief and paying a salary to the fire chief, all well and good, and hopefully it'll benefit the public in a way that will help. The fire insurance rates are tremendously high in homeowners insurance, and maybe the ESD could get organized enough that get more volunteer fire departments interested in compliance. So what I did get was from the ESD. I got some reports and letters, and so I'm going to show them to you. Hopefully you can see this. It's kind of a handwritten report in a PDF file, and it says the original purchase price of the building there at Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department was $60,000, and they purchased it from the school, and they got a $15,000 grant from DECOG USDA, and that left a balance of $45,000. And again, this is a report from that, and they say that there was $55,049.65 and a possible another payment on 12/20/04 of $1,597. Okay, so what we have to realize, the USDA and DECOG are quasi or government entities. USDA being the United States Department of Agriculture, and DECOG being the Deep East Texas Council on Government. All of these entities are pretty much funded by our government, whether it be local government, regional government, state government, and or federal government. It's all our tax dollars. So here again, the fire department purchased it for $60,000 from the school district who had originally built the building. And if we scroll on down, this is a letter from the Emergency Services District and to the fire department. And so they were in a little building behind Elaine's, which is now Paradise Grill. And if you go to Paradise Grill, there's a parking lot there, and there's a little kind of a brick building right off that was the Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department building at the time. And as I understand it, Lou Rogers and Elaine Rogers actually bought that building from the fire department for some price, and I think they applied that price to the thing. But anyway, so it goes on to say, the volunteer fire department has $4,500 allotted to be transferred bidding on the building, and then there's a revised offer of $60,000, and don't know whether it's going to be accepted or not. And as according to what I've heard was the emergency services district had $60,000 in the bank, and they put up a $60,000, and then it was submitted by, again, it's not signed, but it says Alan E. Clark, which was vice president of the ESD at that time. And there's a second letter from Emergency Services to Howard Kratz. Okay, and it talks about the bid on the agricultural building. So the building that the current Volunteer Fire Department was owned by the school district, Coldspring Oakhurst Independent School District, and the Volunteer Fire Department put a bid in on this agricultural building. It actually had two buildings on the site, and I don't know what happened to whatever, but anyway, and then the ESD board is agreeing to make a promissory note on the building, basically saying, yeah, we'll back whatever the Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department wants to do. So that's that. So one of the things, and I guess and then again, here's another one from the Emergency Services District, and it's dated 2002. And again, okay. And the Volunteer Fire Department is process of, getting a grant, blah blah blah. And again, this is Mike Owen, and it's notarized. Anyway, saying that they're interested in moving forward with that, and with the grant, and with the fire department, blah blah blah. Okay, so here's the minutes from 2004 where they talk about that, and all this. Here it is: Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department. Make a motion, pay the USDA. Now, so what I understand is the USDA, okay, it's this note, this, if you would, 45,000, 60,000, whatever it was, this note was paid off at some time in the past, okay? Don't know exactly when, but if we go back here and look, even in the report on the note, it talks about the last payment they made was in 2013, now almost 10 years ago. And so, decent time frame. They paid it off in 10 years, and they were paying pretty good amounts of money, and sometimes they didn't pay as much as others. I guess they didn't have as much money in the bank at the time, but well managed, and it was paid off, and they paid $55,000, which is about $10,000 in interest, which is not bad. But again, its original ownership was a public entity funded by tax dollars. Got a grant from DECOG USDA, again tax dollars, and here we have USDA paying off a bunch, again from ESD, and haven't gotten any information from Coldspring Fire Department on how much they paid, but the fire chief, when I talked to him, said that they had paid some too. Don't know how much, don't know anything about that, but he did admit that some of the payments were made by the Emergency Services District, and if that's the case, it looks like according to the Emergency Services District. Now later on down in this document, I'm going to tell you there's canceled checks that validate with the other checks, the check numbers up here, even though this is a handwritten thing. There are checks, and I'm not going to show them in this video because they do have account numbers and stuff, and I don't want to do that. So now here we have, and it's kind of like I was saying, how many times are our tax dollars going to pay for this building? So here we have, and now we have multiple government government, quasi-government entities, non-profit organizations acting as volunteer fire department. Now we have a city involved. So we have DECOG, we have USDA, we have Coldspring Independent School District, and now we have the city. And according to what I heard, the city paid close to $50,000 to repair the roof, and metal roof, and that vintage of roof is susceptible to the little neoprene gaskets wearing out, and you have to put new ones in. So that's kind of what happens to that age of thing. The county just spent $350,000 or $400,000 on new roof for that, and here we have Emergency Services District, making payments and everything. So it's all well and good, but again, how many government entities are going to pass this around, and how many times as private citizens do we have to pay for this? Anyway, and so here we go. This is a acknowledgement, if you would, by the Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department asking the Emergency Services District to make a payment of $5,000, USDA Rural Development. Okay, and they're saying that the loan is $24.46, and anything other than that, blah blah blah. And it's signed Shelley Sweet. Anyway, and here is a promissory note, USDA form, and here's the government entity. It's out of Huntsville, blah blah blah, Volunteer Fire Department, October 9th, 22, and it's got a 4 1/2 interest % annum, and here's the note, blah blah blah. Okay, legal, blah blah blah. Now here's what I'm saying. Again, here's another one requesting $10,000. Denise Hall. Another document. Again, this was all from Emergency Services District. So, talking to some of the entities involved, I'm going to say the previous fire chief had made a statement to me that the volunteer fire department made some of those payments. I don't know. If they did, it was payments to help from ESD, which had a contract with ESD for fire suppression, and they were supposed to get some kind of money out of that. I don't know exactly how that goes and how that works. Don't have the information on that, but again, I have some people that says that basically the fire department signed over at some point in time as part of this contract with the Emergency Services District. They signed over everything they own, but at the same time, the fire chief at the current time that signed the documents signing the property over to Coldspring, the City of Coldspring, said that he tried to show them that he had the deed, but the Emergency Services District refused to acknowledge that he had a deed to the property. So, kind of all convoluted. One of the other things I will tell you is, unless you have a contract that specifically states that, and a person in the state of Texas means that you are at least in, you can, a person is the same thing as a legal entity of a corporation, which Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department is incorporated. It's an incorporated entity, has just the same thing as a person. If it signs a contract, that's legal and binding, just like a person signing that. At the same time, they have some of the same legal rights. If you own a piece of property, okay, and you don't sign that piece of property over or put a lien against it by a official legal document, making payments, okay, for that entity doesn't give the entity that made the payments any legal right to the property, as far as I understand. So legally, I think maybe the Coldspring Fire Department, Inc. had the legal right to sign that over to the City of Coldspring. All I'm saying is every one of these entities have some, I'm going to say, if what they were saying, you know, and we got a grant from USDA and DECOG, well, maybe they have some legal right value to it. But at the end of the day, us taxpayers are the people that own that property. It's a matter of who we want to be in possession of that property, whether it be Coldspring, the City of Coldspring, which would be the mayor and the city council, or we want it to be DECOG, or we want it to be USDA, or we want it to be Coldspring Oakhurst Independent School District. I don't know, but we need somebody to manage the operation of that building. And it appears to me that that building has some deficiencies as a building, needs some remodeling, but as I understand it, the Emergency Services District did a bunch of remodeling and stuff for their new building, but they still hold the meetings down in the Coldspring Fire Department. I think they have a big new building that's been remodeled up the hill from Coldspring Volunteer Fire Department. It's the old Sewell Chevrolet building, I believe, is what it was back in the day. I remember from when I was a kid and kind of traveled around Coldspring as a youngster, but didn't live here. But I remember the little Chevrolet dealership that existed there. Got a real nice granite face front and everything. I think Mr. Jack Stevens may have remodeled it and made it better and stuff. And there have been a number of businesses in there and different things over a period of time. But I hear that the Emergency Services District now has remodeled it and uses that for their office. Anyway, it's just, I'm an old country boy, and it's just, how many times does our government have to pay for this building? And that's all I got to say. I think we as citizens own this building, and we just need to decide who can use it. And that's about all I have to say today, and I appreciate your attention.